first of all, why do we tend to nag at our kids? Because we want them to either start doing something or stop doing something. And then you realize that why is it that you have to nag and then the kids will listen, right? So I need to give you a little bit of background about how their brain works. Basically, they are kids and their brain don't function like us. We are adults and we have a very developed prefrontal cortex. But for kids, no. And because the prefrontal cortex is responsible for the executive function of the kid's brain, you need to know that your kids are not able to multitask. Your kids cannot plan, cannot reason, and cannot take in too many instructions at once. So if your kids are playing Lego and you ask him, it's time for dinner. It's time for dinner. Do you hear me? You have to come over now. It's time for dinner. I said it 3 times. Now, your kid is focusing on doing and playing. He cannot understand, he cannot hear, and he cannot process the information, the instructions that you give. So when you want to give instructions and in the result in you nagging at your kids, that is because you have not gotten their attention, and your kids is not intentionally trying to like defy you. Sometimes they are just so engrossed in the things that they are doing, so that's the reason why they don't hear you, they don't start or stop the action that you are telling them to. So today I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can apply on how to stop nagging at your kids. First of all, remember, when you keep nagging at your kids will know. They will know that mommy, number 1, she keeps nagging. They will also know this, listen very carefully, that they don't have to listen the first time when you give the instruction. Because mommy is going to nag at me, she's going to repeat the instructions again. Does it make sense? Yeah, so if you are the kind of person who like give instruction and like to repeat, put on your socks, hurry up, put on your socks. So you just like repeated the instructions and your kids know mommy's going to repeat anyway. So I want you to practice this, okay? Don't repeat your instructions because the kids will wait for you to repeat. So we're going to go into the 3 tips right now, okay? The first tip is wait time. So when I was a teacher, we were taught in our National Institute of Education, NIE, that when we give instructions to our students, we have to give them wait time. And by the meaning of this word wait time, it means that you have to give the kids time to process the information. So if I were to ask a class a question, like what is 5 times 10, for example, or 5 times 10, okay, it's a bit too easy, but maybe to a primary school kid, you don't tell them the answer immediately. You give them wait time. You give them time to process. So if you need to give wait time to primary school kids, secondary school kids, or even kids in the universities, get them to wait and think, why can't we give wait time to our 2, 3, 4 years olds, right? So what I want you to do is when you give an instruction, be very, very mindful to wait. Okay, so today I asked Charlotte, do you want to drink milk? And then I waited, like I waited for her, and you know what? She responded after maybe like 4 seconds. Yeah, so we are so used to having things quick and fast that we expect our kids to follow our instructions immediately, but little did we know that they cannot do that. So number 1, when given instructions, I hope you can give them wait time. Okay, the second tip I want to share with you is when you give instructions, do not just yell and repeat and nag. Now I want you to grab their attention, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to grab your child's attention. Okay, the way to grab your child's attention is to go to them, tap their shoulder, look at them in the eye and say, it is time for dinner. Yes, that's what you do. You go and get their attention, get them to look at you, right? Instead of just yelling. So that is my second tip. Do not just scream and then yell and repeat the instructions. So get their attention by going to them, okay? And my third tip is, what if your child just refused to answer you after you waited, after you look at him in the eye? Now, the third tip is then to connect with your child. Now, how do you do that? Okay, you have to attune to what he's doing or talking or saying. So, for example, my kids, they always like to play Lego before dinner time. I will go over to them and I will say, wow, it seems like you are building something. What are you building? Then they will tell me, oh, we're building this house for this girl and her friends. They're having a party. And my next thing that I will say is that I see you're having a good time. So once you are done, we are going to have dinner. Okay? And I gave you about 1 minute or 2 minutes. So I give them the choices and they will say 2 minutes. Obviously, they'll choose the one that's greater. And I say, can you repeat what I just told you? And they say, after playing Lego, we have to go for dinner. Okay, so you have to get them to repeat back to you and connect with them first. All right, so if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the comments box and I will answer after this. So let's recap. Now, can you recap with me? So the first tip, okay, when you give an instruction to get them to start or stop a behavior is to give wait time. Wait. Giving instructions and wait. Now you try this tomorrow, okay? You wait and you see what your kids do. Now if they do not respond, grab their attention before giving instruction. That's number 2. So physically go down to them, their eyes and tap their shoulders. And my trick is to get them to repeat what I said. Can you repeat what Mama said? Okay, and the third tip that I shared is to connect with your kids if they are not able to follow what you want, your instructions. So for example, you want them to put their books into their bags, okay, and they refuse to do that. So you go down and say, Mommy needs you to keep the books in your bag because I need you to be responsible and learn how to take care of your own belongings. Now I'm saying, no, I don't want to keep my books, or they just ran off, right? Okay, so you go over to them, you connect first and you say, it seems like you don't really like to keep your books. You want to leave your books on the table. And you hear what they have to say. And after that, let them know, I suggest, okay, that's why I don't give direct instructions to my kids. I will give them my suggestion because I know I cannot control them. I'll let them know that I suggest that you keep the books in your bag so that you remember to bring it to school the next day, for example. And it's up to them whether they want to keep or not. And then they have to face their own consequences, okay? So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. And let's answer your questions today. Let me see. Okay, Meaningful Learning said wait time to process the information. Yes, that's a useful tip for her. Okay, Korea, Chu Russia said wait time is good, but usually mom is in a hurry. I totally agree. When we are rushing to get the kids to go to school, to go for their classes, to have dinner, to get ready to sleep, and to brush their teeth, and we don't have that time to wait. Now, what I'm asking you to wait is not to wait for 5 or 10 minutes. When you give an instruction, you wait for them to answer you. That might take a few seconds, less than a minute. If they take longer than 1 minute, that's where you go into step 2. You grab their attention, you go down to their eye level and make sure they look at you in the eye. So I share with you my special tip is that before I give my instructions, I will let him know or let my kids know, I have something to tell you. That's what I say. Charlotte, I have something to tell you. And I wait for her to turn and look at me in the eye, and then I will say, I need you to do your bedtime routine. And instead of telling her what to do, I will ask her instead, what do you think you should do now? And she will say, put on my pajamas. So then she will do it, because she's the one who said it. So you are in a hurry, yeah. So well, this is a good time, but we are not really in a hurry because we are usually at home. Although sometimes you are in a hurry to cook your meals and all, it's a good time to practice wait time and give your children time to process information because their brain needs the time, okay? What else? Meaningful Learning said connect first and get in reflection. Thank you for sharing, so summarizing it for me. Okay, Yen Hong said thank you, gonna try it out now because my girl is still not sleeping. It's 10:10. Connection and attention. Great. What to do if my child asks for another 2 minutes after the first? Okay, so if you allow that 2 minutes and you let her know that since you asked for 2 minutes, and explain to her why she can still get another 2 minutes, maybe because you have extra time but before it's time for tea break, so there's a time in between, so you can give her the extra 2 minutes if it permits. Now if it doesn't, then you have to let her know, connect with her again. I know you're asking for more time, you wish that you have more time to play. Then you let her know that okay, it's going to be time for, I don't know, milk time or snack time, or guys got to go somewhere, and that's where you allow, if you do not allow the extra time, and you have to explain to her, okay? Jaden said, what if you call them and they do not answer? Example, time to eat dinner, come over. Yeah, so you do not call your kids, time to come over for dinner. Please don't ever do that now. Why? Because they are not going to come over. How often do you call them to come over and they'll put down all their toys and say, okay, we are going to go over for dinner? How often does that happen? Almost zero, right? Like, they are so engrossed in what they are doing, they will not drop everything they do and like run over to you unless it's something they're very excited about. So do not call them over for dinner. Go over to them, speak to them, give wait time. If not, grab their attention first and then connect with them. Oh, I see that you are reading this story. It seems like it's an interesting book. Can you tell me what it's about? And then they will start to tell you, oh, it's about a dragon. Now that will not take very long, less than 1 minute, just a few seconds. You say, I see you really enjoy this storybook. Now, shall we leave it here so that we come back to read again? It's time for dinner. Now, that is a higher chance for them to comply and go over for dinner. Okay? Okay, Ellie Salhum said, yes, I tried on my son before. He would get excited and turn his attention to me whenever I said, I have something to tell you or to show you. Yeah, so instead of giving direct instructions, let them know that you want to tell them something or, or show them something. Now, I realized something when I do that. My son, that's how he talk to me now. Mommy, I got something to tell you. Mommy, I have something to show you. Mommy, can you come over here? Mommy, can you look at this? So he gets my attention first before he tells me what to do, which is what I've been doing. So he's like mirroring what I've been parenting, how I've been parenting. Okay, Jaden said, thank you for the connecting idea. We'll try tomorrow. Joel Howe said, what to do if it's bedtime and my boy and husband is still playing game and watching video? Okay, so this has got to do not with about nagging anymore. It has got to do with your bedtime routines and how strict you are with it. So firstly, husband has a role model. The husband cannot be playing game when it's time to sleep because the boy will be like, why is it that Papa can do it and I cannot do it? So you basically lose the moral high ground to like explain that, okay, bedtime is time for sleep. Our children need to have more rest than adults. I don't think that's fair. Okay, so if your husband wants to play a game, let him play after the boy has asleep. And if it's bedtime, your boy wants to play again, okay, get his attention, or you can connect with him first, let him know that, oh, it seems like a really fun game, like you're having a lot of fun. So connect, and after that let him know that, okay, unfortunately it's bedtime, your brain needs a break, you need to rest, you can play this again tomorrow. Okay. Jaden said, how to get Papa to change, I guess your question is how to get your husband to stop nagging. Okay, since your husband is already an adult, right, you can explain to him and let him know there are alternatives to nagging. But if not, I think when you do that, he will see how effective it is, and that's where is higher chance will get him to follow. Okay. Pole dance addict said, do you think it's okay to create a competition between siblings? My girls will act the same way as younger girl will copy the older one, but when I said, oh, let's see who will get to XXX first, it works. If it is a healthy competition, I don't think that it's anything wrong, but the reason why we want them to do certain behavior, for example, a bedtime routine, we want them to know that, okay, this is what you do first, followed by, you change, you drink your milk, you brush your teeth. So you want your kids to intrinsically know that they have to do it. Or like we talk about keeping their toys. We want to know that after they play, it's their responsibility to keep their toys. They're not keeping the toys because they want to win their sister. So the intention of that behavior has to be brought forth to your kids, and they need to know. So if the competition does not allow that, then maybe you can try other ways instead of having competition. So instead of competition, why don't you try collaboration? You get them to work together and do it together and see how fast they can complete it, both of them complete it. I think that would be a better alternative than competition. Okay. Painted Daisy say, how do we get toddlers 18 to 24 months to listen whenever they say no or would pretend not to listen? Okay, so Painted Daisy's toddlers have to say no because it is their brain's way of learning. This is how they learn about the world. They need to know what they can do and what they cannot do, and they have to say no. So like what I tell the students in my course, allow your kids to express themselves. They want to say no, it's fine. Your job is to connect with them first. Always acknowledge how they feel, that they don't want to do certain things. Toddlers, they say that they don't want to drink milk, they don't want to eat broccoli, they don't want to play this particular toy. Let them know that I see that you don't like to play it. Connect with them first, and when they have softened and they are able to listen to your guidance, that's where you can start to teach and let them know what's right and wrong. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so that's all I wanted to share. Any last questions? So let's recap, okay, how to not nag at your kids. Number 1 is to wait time when you give an instruction. Number 2, grab their attention. And number 3 is to connect with them if they do not follow. Alright? Okay, so one last question from Pearly. My boy repeats after the steps of the bedtime routine after me, but when it comes to the final step to sleep, he's not able to self-control and he acts up. Yep, okay, Pearly. Like I mentioned in my past IG lives, the kids know the instructions, but they may not have that self-control, like you say, to follow through. And that's where we come in. That's where we have to constantly remind and guide them. Repetition will build the synapses in their brain to let them know that, okay, after this we have to sleep. After this, if we don't sleep, we don't have enough energy for tomorrow. You just repeat and repeat, and the kids will know. They may not follow, but at least it's much easier to get them to comply. Okay, so yeah, Pearly, there's a lot of patience on our part. Petalita said, my toddler hides his face, move his body away and cover his ears when I need to lecture him. Now kids, when they feel this a little, they call this healthy sense of shame. So it's like they know they did something wrong and they feel like shameful about it, but it is not entirely a bad thing, because at least they can know right and wrong, and they learn about values or what they should or should not do. So when he hides his face, move his body away, now we want to let them know that we are not here to reprimand him. We are here to teach them. Okay, we don't want to scold our kids for doing something wrong. I personally believe that there are no naughty kids. I don't allow my kids to use the word naughty in the house, because I say that everyone is still learning. Yeah, so be really patient and guide him through it. Okay, Katirish asks, how are my children? They're 6 and 3.5. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop here right now. I'm gonna pop up on IG Live more these few weeks to share with you more information and how to manage your kids, because I know it's really a crazy time right now with the kids around 24/7. So I hope I can support and help you a little by giving these bite-sized strategies. Okay, so have a really good night. If you find this useful, you can summarize what I've taught you and write it down and tag me in your IG story or in your post, and I would love to hear it from you. Okay, thank you so much and have a good night and stay safe, guys. Bye bye.